Hi,
Hi,
Leon. How are
Sonja.
you today?
Very good. Very good to see you again
I'm so
on the beginning of
excited.
this.
We are getting into this, aren't we?
Yeah, we're getting into this, and I can't believe it that it's already episode 4 that we're talking about today.
Yeah, yeah. So the feedback I'm getting is that people are enjoying our chats. So
Mm,
let's give them more to enjoy. That's what I'm going to say.
yes,
Hey.
I've discussed with a few people as well, and they're starting to watch on LinkedIn. So I think, yeah, just a bit of more promotion, and we'll gather some troops together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We do have an idea going into a podcast soon, but that's not for now, and that is going to be sometime in the future. So I'm just
Mm,
putting it out there for anybody who wants to join us with questions on the podcast. That is going to be made known if and when, not if, when we are ready, hopefully sooner rather than later. So that's where we're going to go. But for now,
wonderful.
it's just you and I having a good time together. And I must be honest, I was the opening of this episode was like the earthquake, and
Mm,
we we didn't know exactly. Obviously, we don't know when we started who is going to be the next family member for whom this opening has been shown.
yeah. Yeah, and then later on in this episode, it's revealed
Yes.
that it's actually about Salim this time.
Yes. But it links in with episode 3 because episode 3 is where Ada has this huge conflicts with herself. And we spoke quite extensively about relationship issues in
Mm,
episode 3. And so this is now, we spoke about Ada's side of the relationship, and now we're looking into Salim's side of the relationship. So it is just it's very good that we now also get to see the other side.
yes. Yeah, and I think the opening scene after the earthquake brings us straight into where Ada wakes up in a caravan, which is the home of Toprak. And she then joins him on the beach, and then everything unfolds from there. But it's very interesting how this episode, the creator, the scriptwriter, the director, how they juxtaposition the whole story. Because immediately we see Ada, the doctor, the scientist, the one that is very in tune with a status in life and to be the scientist, now suddenly finds herself having given into her heart. She finds herself on a beach next to a caravan, completely relaxed atmosphere, but a very, very beautiful juxtaposition of the two worlds coming together.
That is true, but she's also now questioning herself because
Mm,
she did give in to Toprak,
mm,
and she did now basically do what she was going to leave Salim for, why she was going to divorce Salim. And so it's like
mm,
a lot of emotions going through um, Ada. And then exactly the same thing happens. She's in the caravan and there is a phone call coming in, and she immediately says, "Oh, he is with another woman. I have really now messed up again. Shouldn't have gone into this." And same story is going to repeat with Toprak. And that's an
mm.
assumption that she has. So
Yeah.
again, there is this, she gets mad with Toprak, and he again doesn't know why is she so angry. He has no clue that she's seen the phone call from her daughter coming in, from his
Mm.
daughter coming in.
From his daughter.
Yes.
What's her name? Floor.
From
Flower.
his daughter
Yeah.
coming in, which is the same child that was the result of his earlier affair. So, but now it's Ada in the same position again. So now this one is completely emotional turmoil for her.
Yeah. But she misjudges this completely. She sees this as another affair, another another woman in his life, and she's immediately the monkey mind starts to talk and judge herself with those powerful words. Who is this Ada? What are you doing? When she looks herself in the mirror.
And being calling herself the stupid hot should not have gone there.
Yes, exactly. But also indicative of the battle between the heart and the mind. When the heart goes with what feels good and what's natural and what's spontaneous, then the mind obviously starts stepping in as judgment. And so the battle between the heart and the mind is very evident in this little scene with her in the bathroom.
And also the vulnerability coming up, because now
Yes.
she's vulnerable again.
Yes. And I think I wanted to ask you this, your experience. Do you think this is also a case study of a first love that has never been properly closed? Because we see this compelling dynamic drawn to each other, and they don't, and yet they want to, and eventually they fall into each other's arms. But probably because earlier on in their lives, it was left open.
It was absolutely left open because she never gave an answer. He didn't know why she left. And she, at that time, also made an assumption. So this is what happens with first love. There's always something that happens that is too big for us to bear, and then we leave it, but we never conclude it. And so it keeps simmering there as the first love. And we heard in the last episode how Salim had so much difficulty overcoming and being the man that she wants, but yet her yearning for her first love really has infiltrated that marriage in a big way. But what is good in this episode to see that it wasn't just her fault. And in this episode, there's another side entering the story, but we'll get to that.
Yes. And then, of course, Layla, the evergreen, ever playful Layla, climbs through the window. I think that is one of the scenes that we then noticed next, and how she acts that whole situation with her makeup the previous night never been taken off, but that comes also with the arrival of Belgian, Ada's mother.
Yes.
That's paying a visit, because she's really caring about her daughter Ada, and I think been invited by Muku to come and visit. So that then the next scene with Ida's conflict perpetuating with her mother is now unfolding.
Yes, but we the mother now is trying to have a conversation with Ada, and Ada doesn't want anything to do with it. And where the mother tries to explain to Ada, it's not your fault. And what I did was for your sake. But in the child's mind, that never comes through, because the child has different experiences of the parents. And in our constellation work, we see it when a child judges the parents, either the one or the other parent or both of them, then the child is basically stepping out of line and stepping out of position. And we do have that sentence in our constellation work where we say, what happened between your parents has nothing to do with you. And I often see in constellation that it has everything to do with me. It's all about me. And then to create that distance, to say, no, it has nothing to do with you. You need to leave what is between the parents with the parents. And in this scene, we see that Ada has judged her mother very, very harshly. She's stuck with the father, not understanding why the mother has left. And the mother has never been given an opportunity to actually explain herself.
Okay. So I think I can pick up here, because what impressed me here is, and I wanted to ask you also in terms of your own practice with your clients, it seems like this is another sign or a signature of, shall we say, divided loyalty. Because she says to her mother, you are wrong because you and I have nothing to talk about. So very emphatic, very strong, rejecting the connection and the overtures from the mother. And then she says, Dad suffered too. She takes sides with her father because that divided loyalty then kicks in. She had an affinity for her father right from that early age. We saw her with the early scenes when he was suffering. And therefore, not understanding what her mother really did, she had no option but to side with her father.
But we as parents keep secrets. We want to protect our children from the truth. And this protection from the truth is, for me, is questionable. Is it more harmful for the child to hear the truth? Or is it more harmful to protect the child through this veil of secrecy? And this is, I think this is a question that a lot of us as parents have. What is better? And we can see that the mother, in the form of protecting her child from the truth, has made a massive sacrifice at her own cost. But it's not only at her own cost, it is also at the cost of others' happiness.
Yeah. So it's a really a difficult one to judge when you're in situ, raising your child, having conflict with certain situations in the family system, to make that judgment call. That's very, very difficult. Luckily, we have this tool called Family Constellations, where we now can go into the field and ask for direction, ask for wisdom. And usually the field, the all-knowing field, as we speak about it, has a capacity to give us the healing direction for the situation. Even though it was many, many years ago, in this very current moment, we can find a resolution.
I once had a client, and she had a secrecy around who the father of the child was. And she was broken and she was lost. And then through setting up a constellation, we saw what would be a healing way forward. And the good news is she followed that constellation with a healing way forward. And it had such a good outcome in the family for everybody. So for the father's family especially, they were like delighted to have this child that they would have never known if that secret veil would not have been opened up. And also for her family and for the child itself, the child felt like, oh, I can breathe, don't have to hide. And I think sometimes we need to not just blurt out the information, but I love the idea that, as you said, we have this tool to work with.
And then before we move away from that scene, just to also make a note of how beautiful the director directed that scene when Ada's mom comes into the room. First she sits, she keeps her distance, and then she comes closer, and then she says, give me the brush. and then she starts to brush her hair. And then at the end, before she walks out, she refers to the hand mirror, almost like the hand mirror then becomes that connector with the grandmother.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful transitional moment in the storytelling.
Mm.
And I just thought that is exquisite. That is so well done, you know.
And in that moment, you could actually see the pain in both women. And yet neither of them was able to express it. Yes, Ada expressed her anger, as she always does. But the mother does not get to really share her story.
And now we're back to Sergey and Salim, unless you wanted to add something more
Now
there.
we can go there because that's quite significant, because we have, while this situation with Ada is happening, Sevgi has to keep Salim busy. And it gives them an opportunity to talk about their past together in terms of having been a friend to the group of girls. And Selim has like a little bit of an explosion, and Sevgi says to him, maybe there are things about you that you don't realize. With other words, Selim is angry at Ada, and he can't find fault in himself. I mean, he's done all the right things for this woman, and now she's actually gone off with her first lover, and now he's really like, this is not okay, because he's come to get her back. And Sevgi is just trying to say, maybe there's more to this. Maybe there's more in your marriage than what you realize.
And I like her question. She says, Salim, what is the real reason that you cheated on Ada? She brings it straight back to his responsibility. Ask him, what is the real reason for that?
And I think this is why I love, again, this systemic work, is because there's no judgment in the cheating itself. There is what is, again, the cheating is just a symptom of an underlying cause. What is the real reason? And I think too often in relationships, once there is that, what we call cheating, or that affair, it's almost like, this is a no-brainer, this has to be broken, there is no way forward from this, in one form or another. And in many, I would say in many religious practices, it is the number one reason that they allow a marriage to be broken. So even if they say a marriage may never be broken, this is a reason where they allow a marriage to be broken. And for me, that's so sad, because what is really at the core? Why does somebody need to break free or break out or just have a breather from the relationship? And we need to, in Family Constellations, we actually can have a good look at that and heal that, because when that is healed, the marriage has a good way forward.
Absolutely. So what is underneath? What is underneath that pattern that keeps that pattern as a structure in place? And that's what this work is about, is to dive deep to the structural levels of the system. Yes. And ask what keeps it in place.
Yes.
But I do love the role of Sergey as the true friend, the one that shoots straight arrows, that asks straight questions, which for me is indicative of that true friend. That doesn't matter whether she's going to be popular or not after this question, but she shoots those questions. She says to him, think about it, buddy. If you love Ada that much, would you have slept with someone else? Would you have slept with? Think about it, buddy. And Sergey, so she brings him to account, and that actually has also a pivotal role, because he starts to think more and more about what is going on.
So I want to jump something in ahead here. We were talking of first love. Now, in Ada's case, the first love was clearly Toprak.
Yes.
What is not clear is that Salim's first love is his mother.
Aha. Yes.
And that doesn't come out quite in the series, but while we're on the topic of first love, I want us to look at it with those eyes, because then
Yes.
the constellation becomes clear.
Yes. And so, what is our facilitator's name? Says to him then, you have replaced, Zaman, you have replaced your mother with your wife at one point.
Yes.
Which, he's projected his needs of not having a mother in the way that he needed when he was a child. He projected those onto, and he did everything for Ada in order to get that from her. So that's also a strong indicator for us in relationships when things go wrong.
Yes. And so the thing is, it's obvious that a child's first love is the parent of the opposite sex. So obviously that is quite clear, like mommy's boy, daddy's little girl. But the thing is, then when the child grows up and marries, then that first love separates in a good way. And when that first love does not separate in a good way, it has repercussions to the marriage. And this is something we don't understand when we do normal relationship coaching, because this is not something that is taught in relationship coaching. And then there's a small little tidbit where Leila and Adam have a little bit of an interlude, and it is very clear that Adam wants Leila to save him financially, but she's got nothing. She definitely doesn't have enough to save him. And we can see a little bit of his irritation there. But then it moves on to Sergei planting the olive sapling.
Yes, it's also very interesting. Just before we get to that beautiful scene, I think it's Sergei that asked the question to Ada, what do you really want? I think so. And then she answers and she says, I want my tremors in my hand to be gone so I can go back to work. But what's very interesting about that question is that later on, it's then revealed what causes all of that. And I think related to this question, what do you really want? Then leads Sergei to go to that beautiful scene where Figo walks in on the scene and helps her to plant the little olive tree, almost like a symbolic gesture for that I want so much. I will nurture it into growth.
But she does it as a spiritual practice in honoring and in gratitude, to give thanks. And she's in the process of having this online chat and falling in love with this man who sends her this beautiful poetry, etc., etc. And then Fico comes and sort of very innocently says, so he's aware of all this, and he says, have you had any changes in your life yet? And she sort of looks at him, and then he says, God never gives you more than you can handle. If the Lord has given you something, you should believe in his plan. And I think it's his little way of introducing himself to her in a kind way, but she obviously doesn't know where is this coming from. And this is the thing, is what the series does and where we are at in this point of the series is, what is the bigger picture? So when we look at little incidents, we only see the little snippets, but what is the bigger picture? What is the expansion that we need to really look at?
Exactly. And I think that dances together. The question, what do you really want? cannot be answered without understanding the bigger picture at the same time. I like that question from Sevgi to Figo also. She repeats then in a way, what exactly are you going for? And Figo then says, long story. Do you mind if I hold on to it? It's like he feels intuitively he's not quite ready to go there now, but there's something that will be ready later on.
Yes.
It's lovely to set boundaries, because sometimes we just answer because we want to be nice to people, and deep inside we're not aligned already to give a proper answer with what we feel. So I like it that he says, it's a long story. Do you mind if I hold on to it?
Well, he's not quite ready to out himself yet.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we see Ada and Zaman together again, where they take the drive on the bicycle, and Zaman takes her to this olive tree that is needing some attention. And what I loved about this scene is all the teachings he gives. So if we look at ourselves, we are like the tree above the ground, and we only see what we see. We don't see all the flow inside the branches, inside the trunk, and least of all do we see the roots. And I love that he made this analogy is, so the tree has leaves that show that something's not well. So there's something that shows on the outside that's not well.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't, and he says, no, we're not going to treat the outside. We're not going to treat the leaves. And he opens up to look at the roots. And he's brought some treatment for the roots. And I think this is so symbolic of this work is we need to look at the roots, not that which is wrong on the outside. What is wrong with the roots? Not even that which is wrong on the inside. And this is where it takes it beyond coaching. We're looking at the roots. So it's going deeper than just looking at the inside. It goes deeper than just looking at the flow of the subconscious. It goes, where did it start? Let's look. Where did the roots get hurt? And when these roots are hurting, the leaves cannot be in their full power. So I think that is really, really key in the scene. And he says, from the deepest roots in the ground, veins come to feed you. These veins carry stories that carry pain, carry riches and treasures. Your mother, her mother, her mother. You're all entwined in visible bonds. And I think this is such a beautiful way, because those invisible bonds are inherent. So if we take the scene where we have the pip of the olive, which is going to be the new tree, then we have the sapling that Sevgi is planting, and then we have the olive tree that has already had many generations of giving pips. And so I think it's beautiful to see that even this old olive tree is worth saving, is worth having that attention. And he carries on to say to Ada, ignoring that bond is to shut out your feminine side. Your feminine side is the creative part of you. Your compassion, your ability to give and receive love. What we do is find those little wounds in the roots and apply a little bit of care for them. And I love this.
Yeah, me too. I think that's another another beautiful summary of the work we do. The mystery of the systemic work. The little wounds in the roots, and apply a little bit of care to them. It's so poetically beautiful and true.
Absolutely. And then once we acknowledge the wounds of the root, the scene then goes to where Selim is saved in the rubble from the earthquake that we saw earlier in the beginning of this. And then he says to Selim, you have replaced your late mother with your wife. And that's what we were talking about, the first love.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that Selim is so gentle here. Because he says, confrontation sometimes needs to develop gradually. Both need to experience, both in needs of experience and time. And I think this is what happens. We are climbing in. We want to solve a problem now, instead of allowing it to actually just sit and stew until all the little bits have bubbled up to the surface.
Yeah. So it's beautiful how someone doesn't fight him or push back, or he just gently says, our friend needs both experience and time. Just accepting how the work has its own rhythm and its own healing moments. Sometimes you just need to accept what is right now, even the confrontation from Selim.
And Selim is like, I still want this relationship. And he describes this, we've been in this car crash, but we both are now we both crashed. Now we can climb up, and now we can make a new go of it. And it's not that easy. And then the question arises, and I love this question. How do we choose the people we fall in love with? Mm-hmm. And this question has really it's blown my mind a little bit, because we have all sorts of theories, How do we choose these people we fall in love with? Mm. That's a question that sort of hangs in the air.
Absolutely. The structure of our subconscious mind, which is the link to our past and to the previous generations.
So then I asked you, Leon, the people that have come into our lives as partners and have left our lives and may be becoming new partners come in. How do we choose each partnership? Is it really just love? Or is it for an experience in this life that we need to go through?
Yeah. I think the second direction is the most likely direction, even though initially it feels like this is overwhelming, it's mesmerizing, it's enchanting, and there's a definite attraction. But as soon as that attraction tapers off and the day-to-day reality sets in about how this relationship can be functionally managed on a practical basis, then we start learning that this other person came in to also push some of my buttons that I've forgotten that I have. And so that's where Ken Wilber beautifully describes, we have to wake up, we have to grow up, and we have to then show up. So which indicates that we continuously on a platform of growth, and our relationships are gifts to us to help us to transcend our own patterns so that we can become renewed and fresh and look at the world from a perspective that we can bring more to. And so there's a lot in this topic that we can explore in future.
I do want to just ask one question.
Yes.
I have such a naughty mind. But the thing is, the question here is it possible that what we perceive as choice is affected by someone calling up from the past? And this is the thing is, how many of us leave home, find a partner so we can get away from the parents, only to find them up stuck in the same situation as we were at home.
Yes.
So we can't really escape. Whatever we have left behind will catch up with us. For me, oh, that's not so cool, but yeah.
Yeah. One of the Swamis said once, I don't need to teach my students anything. Life is a much better teacher than I can be. And so it's about that life orchestrates the right people, the right time, perfect synchronicity to come in your life and help you to transcend where you're stuck.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we have this flash of excitement from Layla because now she's got the money and she can save her husband. So that sort of just comes in as a flash, as a like, just a little bit of a something. And then for the first time, Chopra can share with Ada the truth.
Yeah.
The truth of his daughter. And
then it's interrupted.
And then it's interrupted with Celine's outburst of temper.
Yeah.
And it goes into a not such a good scenario.
Yeah.
But
a real
lot of things
cliffhanger.
sort of come together. We've got the truth for Ada coming out, but also Chopra has another truth. Because of the fight he has with Celine, he then can't leave because it seems to be a pattern in him. But I think more of that is revealed in the next episode.
Yes. The one thing that we can mention in addition is that Ada's wish has been granted, because as she fills in the color pictures with the little boy, she notices that her hand is stabilized.
And that's beautiful because it means, wow, there has been healing.
Yes, that some healing takes place in this episode. So there's a real sense of progress in this episode. And then there's also a fall back into conflict and not so nice, but this is how the dramatic sequences now unfold.
Yeah, so lots of excitement in this episode, and I think it hangs a little bit in suspense on where we're going to go next.
Thank you. That was great. Are we
Thank you,
anything else? Any more thoughts from your side?
No, I think it's exciting. Thank you for doing this with me, and we can just continue this journey because I think you and I are having fun on this journey.